Hare Krishna. So we'll move to the 12th chapter of. Hmm. So here, until this point of time, Suta Goswami has explained to the sages of Naimisharanya. Hmm. Because sages of Naimisharanya previously asked Suta Goswami few questions. No, we would like to know about the birth and activities of Parikshit Maharaj, like that. But when Suta Goswami gave the nice description about Krishna's entering into Krishna's departure from Krishna leaving for Dwaraka, and Krishna's entering into the city of Dwaraka. So there are such a nice loving reciprocations of Krishna and his devotees. So Krishna is practical, like no, not Krishna. So Suta Goswami, he is giving a glimpse, or he is giving it like a, just like a trailer. No, if you see modern day movies, they will show some incident, uh, like some in the beginning of the movie they show some scene like where there is intense emotion is involved, and then they will bring the hero at the right time. Like now, just like some crisis happening, and then when some crisis happens, then that movie director or the story writer will create that situation for the entrance of the hero enters when there is extreme situation, like now when somebody doing no, this rowdyism. And then like hero enters to save the victims. So in the same way, Sutta Goswami brought in Krishna when the at the time of crisis, when the Brahmastra was released by Ashwatthama. Mm. And Parikshit Maharaj was in the womb. And originally the sage's question was, we would like to know the birth and the life of Parikshit Maharaj. So, but Sutta Goswami started describing about Krishna's reciprocation with his devotees, and how uh, 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 Krishna's conversation with Bhishma Dev, and how Krishna's conversation with Yudhishthira Maharaj, and Queen Kunti prayers, and then Krishna leaving for Dwaraka, and how devotees followed him through, and then Krishna entering into Dwaraka, and how Krishna reciprocated with different devotees, and Krishna is dealing with his mother and father and his queens. So basically, Sutta Goswami got fully sidetracked because these are the very sweetest pastimes wherever Krishna is involved. So these are like just like a trailer for the 10th canto, which is full of Krishna's sweetest pastimes. So Sutta Goswami gives a glimpse of all these aspects. Okay, now sages realize that okay, Sutta Goswami has fully sidetracked. He went from birth of Parikshit Maharaj to something else. So then again they will ask him, we actually requested you to describe about Parikshit Maharaj, because until this point of time, the sages of Naimisharanya, they were actually originally they got assembled there to perform a sacrifice for the benefit of entire human race for 1,000 years, right? But in the meanwhile, they were not sure like if they are going to get the results of that sacrifice. So what they said, okay, let us hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Sutta Goswami. So they are not very much devoted, or they are not in devotion to Krishna, or they are like a ritualistic, or like they are most are like time it is like no jnanis on the platform of or Ashtanga yogis. Mm. So they are attached to the ritual, and they, just to be safe side, they started hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So when they started hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Sutta Goswami know how to present Krishna. Now, like because Sutta Goswami is a greatest devotee of the Lord, because he is a disciple of Shukadev Goswami. So he is he is trying to bring Krishna into their lives by explaining the sweetest pastimes about the Krishna's reciprocation with his devotees. So after hearing few chapters, then the sages of Naimisharanya realize that we are doing this sacrifice. This is a waste of time, and we are only getting our faces burnt off. No, our faces are becoming black due to the soot of the this firewood that we are burning in the sacrifice. But no result we are going to get. Actual result of this sacrifice or actual result benefit that we are getting is through hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. That realization will come due to the Sutta Goswami presenting the pastimes about Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So now, but Sutta Goswami tries to come back to the question which are kept by, which are asked by the sages of Naimisharanya. They asked the birth of Parikshit Maharaj. Okay, so Sutta Goswami then he explains about how previously Uttara, he explained how when Uttara came running for help, uh, asking Krishna for help to save his son, because she could sense that some weapon is coming to kill the baby in her womb. So at that point of time, Krishna took in the form of a, like a Krishna expanded himself and uh, no, uh, went into the womb. Hmm. So Krishna expanded himself and went to the into the womb where the Brahmastra is attacking the Parikshit Maharaj in the womb, and he through his power counteracted Brahmastra. Hmm. So but later on you will come to know how Parikshit Maharaj is cursed by the Shringi, the son of a Brahmana boy. But Krishna will not protect him from the curse. But Krishna protected Parikshit Maharaj from the Brahmastra himself, because like there is no difference between Brahmana's curse and Brahmastra, because Krishna gives protection only for the spiritual upliftment, for our spiritual upliftment, because the material body is nothing, because material body is at is anyhow going to get lost or get destroyed. But Krishna gives us protection whenever and wherever there is required for our spiritual benefit. So if Krishna doesn't protect us, no, if you ask, even if you ask for protection, if Krishna didn't protect us, means the protection is not required at that point of time. Means like if we will be spiritually more advanced when we are not protected in that point of time. Either by our sincere surrender to Krishna, or our or keeping ourselves in a newer circumstances. Because if you see, like if you are going to lose a job, then you pray to Krishna, Krishna, please protect me, I'm losing the job. If Krishna doesn't protect you and you lose the job, and because you lost the job there, and you will be getting a newer job which will facilitate you more to advance in Krishna, either uh, mentally or in the form of separation, or in any way that Krishna's plans are inconceivable. Okay, and Krishna's protection is always toward the spiritual well-being of the every living entity, because Krishna is the real friend of everyone, looks for real upliftment of every living entity. Suhridam sarva bhutanam. Okay, so when this Brahmastra was attacking Krishna, the child Parikshit in the womb, hmm, Krishna, he said, he expanded in the form into it. He in the in he took in the shape of a thumb and entered into the womb of the Uttara. Hmm. Now he says in this verse, he says, Angushta matram amalam swarata purita maulinam apivya darshanam shyamam tadidvasham tadidvashasam achyutam. He says Angushta matram means in the size of a thumb, he went into the womb of Uttara, and then with it is shining golden crown, Spurata Purita Maulinam, decorated with Mauli means peacock feather, and beautiful, and he is beautifully in beautiful blackish, and with it a cloth like no, with a lighting, like Krishna's always wears yellow cloth, right? So his cloth is like a dazzling yellow, and he's in his beautiful form. He went into the womb, and where this Brahmastra is attacking Parikshit Maharaj, and he went there and in his foreign form, he contracted the Brahmastra in the womb of the Uttara to save Parikshit Maharaj. So at that point of time, Parikshit Maharaj is well grown, and Parikshit Maharaj sees that have the darshan of Krishna in the womb of his mother. Seeing the Lord vanquishing the radiation of the Brahmastra, just as the sun evaporates a drop of a dew, Parikshit Maharaj wondered who he was. Hmm? Who is this person who is coming to save me? Hmm? Actually, it is said that Brahmastra actually burnt all the body of already burnt the body of the Parikshit Maharaj. But Parikshit Maharaj was a dhira. That's why in the while being observed by the child, the Lord who was all pervasive super soul, protector of the righteousness, who spreads in all directions, disappeared at once. Okay. So when Brahmastra came to attack Parikshit Maharaj in the womb, this Brahmastra through its radiation, it already burnt the body of Parikshit Maharaj. But Krishna has revived. No, in the previous image, you can clearly see Krishna revives the body of Parikshit Maharaj, and again, and this Parikshit Maharaj, who was still in the womb, who was in his baby body, he was able to tolerate the radiation of the radiation of the Brahmastra. That's why when Parikshit Maharaj takes birth, the Brahmana says he's a dhira. Dhira means he has the ability to tolerate the reversals or the sufferings, because he in the womb he tolerated such a burning situation of Brahmastra. So and when Parikshit Maharaj was taking the after taking Parikshit Maharaj took darshan of Lord Krishna in the womb, and he suddenly Krishna disappears. And because Krishna was standing in front of Uttara at that point of time, he expanded himself into the womb of Uttara and then saved Parikshit Maharaj. Then after some time, the Uttara gave birth to Parikshit Maharaj. They, then as all favorable signs of zodiac gradually manifested, the heir of Pandu's lineage, similar to Pandu's strength, took birth. Like Pandu is the father of Pandavas. Pandu and Dhritarashtra used to have very great strength, and this child, the Parikshit Maharaj, is also like as good as Pandu Maharaj in strength. Okay, and Yudhishthira and had the Brahmanas such as Daumya and Krupa perform the birth rites and recite auspicious hymns upon the birth of Parikshit Maharaj. Yudhishthira gave appropriate charity to the Brahmanas who happily gave the charity to the Brahmanas who happily informed him that this child is certainly in the lineage of Purus. Okay, so then means he will when they say he's certainly in the line of Purus, means he will glorify your lineage. That's what they say. Okay, now it is a Vedic culture that they write the chart for the any newborn baby, how he's going to achieve different things in his life. So now the Brahmanas predict the child Parikshit future qualities. Okay, so and the then the Brahmana started uh, predicting the qualities of Maharaj Parikshit. Okay, so they say like this child will be known as Vishnu Rata, and because he has been protected by Rath, by the protected by all pervasive and all powerful Lord, because Krishna is has protected the Parikshit Maharaj in the womb. His original name that is given to him was Vishnu Rath. But we already discussed how he got the name Parikshit, because he has seen the beauty of Lord Vishnu in the womb. The how Lord in his four-hand form has protected him, and has revived his body. After reviving his body, Parikshit Maharaj takes the darshan of Lord Vishnu in Lord Krishna in the womb of his mother itself, and he was so attracted by the beauty of Lord Krishna that he wanted to see him again and again. So after coming out of the womb, he started searching for Krishna. So whenever any person comes in front of him, he carefully examines that person. Oh, is he the person that I saw in the womb? So he used to examine each and every person that comes in front of him, and like we know that this examining in the word in the Sanskrit is pariksha. So that's how he got the name Parikshit. Okay. And now the Brahmanas, after the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, they started predicting the future qualities of Parikshit Maharaj. They say he will be he will become the king, as you know, he'll become a Rajarshi. He'll become a king as saintly, as famous as others who appeared in the great royal family. The saintly king, there are many saintly kings in this lineage, right? Kuru is there, that's why it is called Kauravas, Kuru Vamsha, and also Puru, and also Yudhishthir Maharaj. So these are all Rajarshis. So now they compare the qualities of Parikshit Maharaj to the different personalities. Okay, in maintaining all those who are born, means praja palan. So the word praja means that which is born. Not praja means not only the human beings, but also the animals, but also the plants. So the king has to give protection for everything. But nowadays, in the modern day, the protection only is given to only a few selected people. No, some of them are not even given the human rights also. But the in the Vedic culture, the king used to protect every living entity, even the trees, even the animals, even the birds. uh, So he gives all-round protection to all the living entities. So in maintaining the all those who are born, he will be like a King Ikshwaku, son of Manu. And in following the Brahminical principles, especially being true to his promise, he will be like Lord Ram. And in munificent donors of charity and protector of the surrendered, he will be like King Shibi. How King Shibi has, like when demigods wanted to test King Shibi, like they sent I think some Agnidev, he took the form of a parrot, or and Indra took the form of a vulture, and this vulture was chasing the pigeon, sorry, not parrot, pigeon, and this pigeon comes to King Shibi and asks for abhaya, means protection. And King Shibi gave the word, no, I will protect you, don't worry. And as soon as King Shibi gives his promise to the pigeon, then this vulture comes and says, how can you protect this? He is my food. You have to give him to me. I'll kill him and eat him. But King Shivi says, no, don't worry. Because I gave him the word, I will give you the meat. I will give you your food. So now King Shibi did not arrange for no go and kill some animal and give to this soldier. No, did not, because he can see the equal. King Shibi knows that every living entity has the right for their life. I don't have the right to kill any other living being. So what does he do? He cuts the flesh from his thigh and gives like as much weight as that pigeon, and I'll give it to you. So he started cutting the flesh from his thigh and weighing the pigeon. And even though he cuts all the flesh from his both thighs, that pigeon weighs more. So then he started cutting his arms, like the flesh from his arms, but still the pigeon weighs more. So he finally, what do he do? He himself goes and sits on that weighing machine. Then the pigeon will balance, means the weight of the pigeon is the weight of Shivi Maharaj. Then Shivi says, okay, I'm your food now, you can eat me, he says that. So then pleased by his uh, righteousness, pleased by his charity, the demigods show their original personalities and then gives benediction to him. We just wanted to test you how rightful you are. So the Parikshit Maharaj also is like a, in with respect to charity or protection for the surrendered, he will be like King Shivi. And Parikshit Maharaj will expand the name and fame of his family, like Bharata of Dushyanta, son of Dushyanta. uh, so we all know that, right? Dushyanta has a son named Bharata, and because of him, he was a glorious king. More than that, it is said that Bharata is like one more Bharata, Bharata of son of it will come in Bhagavatam only, Bharat Maharaj, right? So now he will, among the greatest bowmen, he will be like as good as Arjuna. So the Bharata that I was telling was, he is a Rishabhadev, son of Rishabhadev. After his name only, this entire planet is named after his name. That's why it is called Bharata Varsha. So and he's irresistible like fire. No, like if fire wants to burn anything, it is irresistible. Like an unsuppressible like a ocean, and he is strong like lion, and he is worthy of shelter like Himalayas. Himalayas are shelter for great sages. Okay, and he is forbearing like earth, because earth is the one who can tolerate everybody. And he is tolerant as his parents. His parents are his Yudhishthira Maharaj, like no, Arjuna, like that. And in equanimity of mind, like Brahma or his grandfather Yudhishthira, means
He is son of Abhimanyu కదా ప్రభు. Yudhishthira will be son of grandfather.
grandson. Yudhishthira will be grandfather. Yes. So in equanimity of mind, means like ability to tolerate the reversals. He'll be like Brahma or Yudhishthira. We all know how many reversals Yudhishthira Maharaj has tolerated, and how many reversals Brahmaji has tolerated in the beginning of creation. So, and he will be munificent like Lord Shiva. Means he will be like Lord Shiva is called Bolenath, or like he will be easily pleased by any small service or any small devotion that is offered. That's why Bola Shankar, he has another name. He is so much like he can be very easily pleased. And he is a resort for everyone, like Narayana, the shelter of goddess of fortune, because Narayana is the ultimate shelter of everybody. So the King Parikshit Maharaj will have that qualities of giving shelter to everybody. Okay, and he will be, by following his footsteps, is as good as Lord Krishna. So by following the footsteps of Lord Krishna means will be a follower of Krishna. And in magnanimity, he will be Rantidev. We will come to know about the magnanimity of Rantidev. Rantidev has fasted for 48 days, and when he was about to break fast, and again the demigods wanted to test him, uh, how magnanimous he is, how kind-hearted he is. So they comes and test him. They one Brahmana comes and then Rantidev gives all his food to Brahmana, and one Chandala comes, like then he started. So he gives up all the food, all water, and he's about to leave his body for the sake of by donating everything that he had to others. So at that point of time, all devatas again comes and shows their original positions, and then glorifies Rantidev. So he's also Rantidev is a very magnanimous person. So in religion, he is like Maharaj Yayati. And in patience, we will come to know the story of Yayati also in later on. In patience, he is like Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj, what is the patience of Bali Maharaj? Bali Maharaj, like no, when Vamandev comes, Vamandev says, "I will take 3 steps of land, and you just give me three steps of land." Actually, Bali Maharaj himself offers, "Why are you asking only 3 steps? I can give entire planet. You can take entire planet," or like that. But Bali Maharaj, Vamandev says, no, no, I am very satisfied with 3 steps of land. And then when he agrees and when he started gives this charity, then Vamandev started occupying everything within 2 steps. In one step, he will occupy entire lower planetary system. In one step, he occupies entire upper planetary systems. And he will ask where is the third step. So, like Balimara displays a great patience. He says, "No, you came in a different form, and now you are displaying in a different form, and your 3 steps are different that time. Your 3 steps are different." He didn't say anything. He was very patient, and he tolerate. He actually uh, fully surrendered himself. No, you do whatever you want. He didn't no, argue or he didn't no, do anything about it. Even though Bali Maharaj gets a chance, Shukracharya comes and warns him. He's Vishnu. He's trying to cheat you, but still Bali Maharaj gives the charity and he displays a great patience. Like no, when Bali Maharaj surrenders, Lord, in order to scare other demoniac personalities surrounding Bali Maharaj, he makes Bali Maharaj be arrested. Mm. He was tied up by Nagapashas and just like a culprit, and he was kept. No, he was humiliated at that point of time. So even that at that time Brahmaji comes and offers prayers to Vamandev and says, you are very satisfied even if a person offers a fruit or flower, patram pushpam phalam toyam, even if some water. But this Bali Maharaj offered everything, that whatever he has, but why are you treating him like a culprit, because he is not able to stand on his word. He was not able to give you third step. This will bewilder all your devotees. Don't do that. Such kind of request Brahmaji only keeps. But still, Vamandev says, I know how to give him. He will be the Indra in his next life, and he will go and stay in Patal Loka, and I will be his personal guardian. So Bali Maharaj shows a great patience at that point of time. So he'll be great. He'll be in patience. He'll be like as good as Bali Maharaj, and he will be a staunch devotee of Krishna, like Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad is the greatest devotee, right? Like is one of the greatest devotees. So he'll be as good as Prahlad Maharaj. So all these qualities, these Brahmanas glorify Lord Parikshit Maharaj in front of Yudhishthira Maharaj, and Yudhishthira Maharaj is very pleased. So he will be the father of Rajarshi, no, like no, this the Brahmanas are again still saying about how is Rajarsis, and he will be the father of the Rajarsis and the chastiser of the upstarts. Just like he's the emperor, right? He will have so many what do you call samantas, means like kings under him. So for the kings who are righteous, he will be like a father for them. But for the upstarters, means who are adharmic kings, he will be a chastiser of upstarters and quarrelsome people. Hmm. Hearing that, and finally they also says about hearing that he will be killed by Takshaka, he will become detached and surrender to the Lord, discerning the knowledge of the self, and from the Sukadeva Goswami, he will give up his body on the banks of Ganges and attain the Lord. So they are also saying that how he will give up his body, because when he hears that he is going to be killed by Takshak in 7 days, he immediately take the shelter of Lord by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami and attain the Lord. So thus informing Maharaj Yudhishthir, the Brahmanas were spontaneously remunerated and departed. And Maharaj Yudhishthir heard everything about Parikshit Maharaj. He nicely gave generous donations to them and then satisfied them. So there is a note here. Srila Prabhupada distinguishes Vipras, Brahmanas and Vaishnavas as follows. Vipras guide society in fulfilling the material necessities, like Karma Kanda. Brahmanas are expert in transcendental knowledge, like Jnana Kanda. Hmm. Above, above Jnana Kanda is Upasana Kanda, and the culmination of Upasana Kanda is Bhakti. Hmm. So Vaishnavas are perfect Brahmanas who perform Bhakti to the Lord. So whatever this discussion with the Brahmanas is Brahmanas deal with the Gnana of Bhavishyavani, Bhavishya Gnan. So they have, and they imparts all this knowledge to the persons who are, whom they like whatever they are doing that activity. Brahmanas do yajnas, yagas, purohit, vipras are only meant for uh, karma kandas, like yajnas, yagas are done by vipras. But Brahmanas are expert in this transcendental knowledge about gnana aspect. Vaishnavas, but they deal with the bhakti part, the upasana kanda, when the culmination of upasana kanda is bhakti. So after discussing all this, then verse number 30 to 36 describes about Maharaj Parikshit's growth and performance of yajna, and performance of yajna by Maharaj Yudhishthir. Okay, and this they also says this child will be called Parikshit or examiner, because he constantly remembered the Lord whom he saw in the womb and searched for among all the men. The royal prince Parikshit luxuriantly grew up and under the under the care of grandfathers, like a moon during the waxing fortnight. Maharaj Yudhishthir waited to perform Ashwamedha Yagyas to rid himself. Sir, Maharaj Parikshit wanted to perform an Ashwamedha Yajna to rid himself the sin incurred by killing his relatives. Thus, he considered how to procure wealth. So, understanding his intentions, his brothers, no, advised advised by the infallible Krishna, collected the sufficient riches from the sacrifice of King Marutta of the north. So when Parikshit Maharaj was growing up, Maharaj Yudhishthir had the thought, no, I am still feel like I have to counteract my sins by performing Ashwamedha Yagyas. So for Ashwamedha Yagyas are very expensive. They have to do lot of charity. They have to feed me lot of people, and they have to do no, like every Ashwamedha Yagya, they have to send an army along with the horse, and the horse has to go around the entire kingdom, and then finally when the horse arrives back to the original kingdom, then horse will be given in a sacrifice. So it involves a lot of expenses. So for that, Yudhishthira Maharaj doesn't have enough wealth in his treasure. So upon so this then this uh, situation is kept in front of Krishna. Then Krishna suggested him, you collect the gold from the north where King Marutta has performed the sacrifice. So in the King Marutta's time, he performed a great sacrifice, inviting thousands of Brahmanas, and he was so wealthy that he gave so much gold to the Brahmanas after the sacrifice. And these Brahmanas, they are very detached. They said they accepted it, the gold, and they came out of that Yajna's place, and then they kept threw everything in one place. And this gold was laying there, covered by dust and all the snow in the Himalayan area. So you go and collect that gold, and then you perform your sacrifice. That's what Krishna's advice to Yudhishthira Maharaj. So Pandavas goes there and collects all those riches. Means the discarded gold by the Brahmanas itself become a huge hill of the gold. So uh, so Pandavas collected that gold, and Maharaj Yudhishthir performed the three Ashwamedha sacrifices, and Lord Krishna being invited to the sacrifice, saw to it that they were performed by the qualified Brahmanas. After he remained a few months to please his own relatives, thereafter Krishna bade farewell to Yudhishthira Maharaj, Draupadi, and other relatives, and started for Dwaraka along with Arjuna and Yadus. So this happened like initially that was after Kurukshetra war happened. Krishna saves Parikshit Maharaj, and Krishna bids farewell to Hastinapur Vasis and goes to Dwaraka, and Dwaraka Vasis welcome him. That happened previously. Now again, when Yudhishthira Maharaj wanted to perform sacrifice to get rid of the sins, Krishna was invited again for those sacrifice, and Krishna stayed along with Pandavas for few more months, and see that the sacrifice is nicely performed, and and after performing sacrifice, then Krishna left along with Arjuna. Krishna left to Dwaraka along with Arjuna. And then Krishna being in it, okay, along with Arjuna and Yadus, okay. So along with Krishna, there some Yadus came from Dwaraka to attend the sacrifice. So Krishna went back to Dwaraka. So now why we are mentioning along with Arjuna? Because in next coming chapters, this topic will come, how Arjuna will see the departure of Krishna to the spiritual world. So that thing will be discussed in the previous chapters. So this is the glorious appearance. Okay. So now here is a short note about King Marutha. King Marutha was a great emperor. Long before the reign of Yudhishthir, conducted a great sacrifice and gave profuse amount of gold in charity to the Brahmanas. Brahmanas, however, could not carry so much gold and left behind. The gold plates, utensils are used in the sacrifice were also left there. Lord Krishna advised Yudhishthir to collect all these unclaimed wealth for his sacrifice. So anything in the kingdom which is unclaimed will automatically become the property of the king. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was the emperor of the planet. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was given that right to claim the gold of gold that is and that is there at the place where King Marutha has performed sacrifice in his previous ages. So after the sacrifice is done, Krishna sees bids farewell and goes to Hastinapur or Dwaraka from Hastinapur. So that is the end of this chapter. If you have any questions or comments, you can take it now.
హరే కృష్ణ ప్రభుజీ మీరు ఫస్ట్ ఒక శ్లోకం గురించి చెప్పారు కదా, అంగుష్ట మాత్రం అమల, అది శ్లోకం ఎక్కడ ఉంది ప్రభు? అది
12th chapter 8th verse Mataji.
ఓ 8th verse. ఓకే ప్రభు, సారీ.
So anything else? Okay, we'll end it here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much for joining.
Thanks, Prabhu.
Glories to Bhagavata Acharya.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.